Welcome back to a Timey-Wimey Pod, where we watch every episode of Doctor Who from 2005 onwards. I'm Rebecca.
I'm Haley.
And today we are discussing the 2008 Christmas special, The Next Doctor.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas in September, so a little early. But I think this is... No, I was going to say this is the last Christmas special we'll do this year, but we have like End of Time coming up in a few weeks.
Oh my gosh, you're right. I always forget that's a Christmas special.
I mean, like, let's be honest, it doesn't really count. Also, like, the first half is Christmas, the second half is technically a New Year's special, so...
Good point.
Before we get into it, a little housekeeping we wanted to do. We've been on the lookout for an artist to work with to help us with, like, maybe some like logo and brand redesigns. So if you are an artist and you're interested in working with us, we would love to work with you. So just feel free to reach out, either on Instagram at timey-wimey-pod or email us at timey-wimey-pod@gmail.com. Are you ready for some fantastic facts?
Yes, I am.
So this special aired December 25th, 2008, which, just a side tangent, 2008 Christmas, that is still one of my favorite Christmases personally of all time. So like whenever people are like, oh, what's a Christmas you remember? I always remember Christmas 2008 because that was the year I got my first American Girl doll.
Yes, iconic.
It was the best. Which American Girl doll do you think would be the best companion?
Wait, that's such a question. You just gagged me with. I could see Kit being a good companion.
Yeah, Kit was my pick too. Like, I can just see her really getting in there. She's very adventurous, you know, getting her hands dirty. She'd also be like fighting injustice.
She would be fighting injustice. She would be spreading the word, and she would bond with people.
Yeah, she would. Kit Kittredge for the next companion.
Please.
Okay, back to this episode. It was written by RTD and directed by Andy Goddard, and this is his one and only episode as director.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah. The working title was Court of the Cyber King. I know. Haley is giving a very like perplexed look right now.
Yeah, I'm glad they chose The Next Doctor.
Yeah, I like the title by itself, like Court of the Cyber King. Like, okay, kind of cool. But it doesn't really fit with this episode at all.
No, it really doesn't.
Yeah, but if they want to reuse it, fine by me. So Russell originally considered setting the story in the court of Henry VIII, but then he was like, that's not Christmassy enough. So never mind. Which I'm kind of glad for, but a Henry VIII episode, I feel like we're long overdue for.
No, we're long overdue for that. That would actually be so interesting, but also definitely not Christmassy whatsoever.
No. He also considered an idea about a hotel that becomes displaced in time, but was going to include J.K. Rowling. And the episode would have been like with her playing herself in like a world inspired by Harry Potter. And thankfully, David Tennant was like, yeah, that's a bad idea. And so they dropped it.
J.K. Rowling aside, Harry Potter and Doctor Who is not a combination I want. I'm just going to be honest.
And I know some of y'all would have ate that up back in the day, but personally, no.
No.
Everything about that idea sounds horrible. And I think we all need to say thank you, David Tennant, for shutting it down.
Thank you, David Tennant.
But are you ready to jump into this episode?
Yes.
So let's start with some like maybe overview thoughts. You know, we love a Christmas special here at Timey Wimey Pod. What are your thoughts on just your kind of general thoughts on this Christmas special?
I'm going to be honest. Before watching this episode earlier today, I think I've only watched this episode like 2 times.
Oh.
And you know how there's always that one episode of Doctor Who that's your personal lost media? This episode is that for me.
Just like one you never remember or one that you forget exists or what?
Kind of both. Like, I forget it exists. I forget what happens. Like, I remember the Cyber King thing and like the Jackson Lake thing, but that's basically all I remember. But I think a big component of it too is that, like, honestly, on rewatches, I just would skip all of the specials except for the Waters of Mars.
Real. That's so real. Honestly, I kind of like when I'm talking about the specials that come after series 4, I kind of forget that this is included in that.
Me too. I feel like it's just on its own, if that makes any
Yeah.
sense.
It really does feel like it's on its own just because like I think they really start the overarching story kind of in the next one, but
Hmm.
there's nothing really starting. This kind of just stands on its own compared to everything else.
Yeah, definitely.
I felt a little bit differently about this Christmas special. It's one that I've always really enjoyed. I remember the first time I watched it, I really loved it. Primarily just like David Morrissey is so fantastic in his performance in every sense. He's just I'll get more into it later, but he really makes this episode and I always really enjoyed it. I was always really kind of fascinated by the concept of like, oh my gosh, the doctor thinks he's meeting a future version of himself, but wait, it's not. And how kind of like bittersweet that is. And it's a fun setting. There's fun characters. The Cybermen are there. I'm like, okay. On rewatch today, to be honest, I was kind of like, okay, like, I wouldn't say I was like having a terrible time or I was bored watching it, but I was kind of like, okay, let's let's get through
Yeah.
this. As much as I do enjoy this special kind of on its own, it's not one because every Christmas I like to watch as many Christmas specials as I can. But I think this is one I kind of like. Sometimes I watch it and sometimes I don't. So it's not on the I have to watch this one list. It's not on a absolutely not. I'm not watching that one list either. It just kind of depends on my mood that particular year if I'm going to watch it or not.
Yeah, for me, this episode, I feel like the same to you, I guess, ranking wise. Like, this is very just like a mid level Christmas episode to me. Like, it's not at the bottom by any means. Like, I don't think it's the worst Christmas special ever, but it's also not the best Christmas special ever. And I
Yeah.
think that's another reason why I just really never think of it. It's because it's just so kind of mid for me. And I know there's like a lot of people that just completely dislike this episode, and I can see why,
Yeah.
but I don't completely dislike it. I just don't usually go for it.
Yeah, I do feel like when I see people hating on it, like I'm defending this episode because I do
Yeah.
like it, but watching it today I was kind of like, yeah, it's there. It's here. Like it's fine. David Morrissey is like the best part. Such a sincere and emotional performance. You can tell he's playing off ideas from like William Hartnell and like the Third Doctor and
Mm.
taking inspirations from some of those classic doctors and melding it together, which I really enjoy. But I want to talk about the first scene of this episode because the doctor's so happy. He is so
Yeah.
happy. It's giving girl who is going to be okay. And it makes me it makes me like a little emotional because it's like he needed this. He needed a break from the trauma, a little vacay after losing like all his friends again. And I don't know, there's something sweet about him just kind of wandering through that little market in the beginning in the snow.
You know, sometimes we all have to have that moment of childlike wonder and not be serious and just enjoy where you're at, the world right outside.
I feel like this is his last, and I don't know, because I don't really remember next week's episode at all for reasons we'll get into next week. But I feel like this is his last, like, happy episode. Like, everything else is
Oh,
just kind of,
definitely.
yeah, it's all pain and despair from here on out.
Yeah, this is his last moment to have a little joy. And I mean, I do kind of appreciate that we get to see him a little joyful one last time before he goes.
I love the moment where he hears Rosita calling for the doctor and he's like, "Who, me?" It's just like, yeah, back at it. Back to being the doctor again. And then he finds her and she's like so disinterested. She's like, get out of the way. Like, why are you here? And it's just really funny.
It is really funny, and I always find it so comical. Tim's reaction when Jackson Lake comes up and is like, I'm the doctor. 10 is
Mm-hmm.
just like, I don't know, the way David acts that out, it's just so funny to me. I love it. It's so funny.
I love how offended he is that to him, this future version of the doctor doesn't remember being him.
Hmm.
Like, he's so upset about it. He's like, I know something's wrong because you don't remember me. Like, he takes that personally.
He really does, which is so funny to me.
Can we talk about Rosita, please?
Yes. Yes, please tell me all of your thoughts on Rosita.
First off, obsessed with the fact that her name is Rosita. That's insane. I remember hearing that for the first time and being just devastated. Especially probably because I watched this probably right after I watched Journey's End. I don't
Mm.
know, but yeah. And I love the doctor's reaction, like, oh, good name, very, very sweet. If you thought Rose Tyler was done haunting the narrative, no, she's never done.
Guys, I'm just going to tell you right now, and especially on our podcast, Rose Tyler will never not be mentioned at some point,
Oh,
even years down the line.
yeah. She is never gone. She is still haunting us to this day. But again, back to Rosita, she's also just like such a great character. I'm like, they should have brought her along. Like, she's a great companion and she fills the role of a companion really well. I love how she's there for Jackson and his also I'm rooting for them, Jackson and Rosita. Like, after, an appropriate time of mourning, I'm rooting for them.
Oh, me too. They definitely become a couple later on once like that mourning phase has happened,
Hmm.
and time has passed. A little, slow burn moment between them. I totally see that.
I love later on when she punches Miss Hartigan and the doctor's like, I completely disapprove dragging her away, but I love that. And she's iconic for it.
She is iconic.
I love when she saves them in the beginning. She like cuts the rope that they're being
Hmm.
dragged with, whatever. And they're all just laughing. And she's like, can y'all be serious? Like, get serious for a second.
No, get so serious. But watching the whole like rope scene with the cyber primate, like I don't know what they call that thing. So I'm just
What
gonna call it
was that explained in this episode at all? Why that
I
happened?
think it was a throwaway line where it's like a Cyberman head on something. So I'm just gonna call it a cyber monkey for the purposes of this episode.
Okay, okay.
Okay. But this cyber monkey chase with the rope and like David Morrison's acting, like this whole sequence was giving classic Doctor Who.
Yeah. It's so good. I love when they're being pulled along and Jackson's like, "Can you pull?" And the doctor's like, "I couldn't not pull from this angle." And it's just so great. And I do love like once it's over and they're just like laughing and hugging. It's really sweet. I love it.
Same.
I love when the doctor's like trying to ask him questions and being like, "So, how do I go? Wait, don't tell me." And he's like, "Hopefully it's a good death and I don't like trip over a brick."
Yeah, him like worrying about tripping over a brick was so funny and random. I'm like, wow, your death is on your mind and you're worrying about your death being handed to you from a brick. Like,
Via
so
brick.
random.
We also get a Blink reference, which I feel like this year has just been the year of Blink references.
It really has been the year of Blink references.
Enough of the Blink. We get it.
Stop, we get it. We get it. It's like everyone's favorite episode.
Yeah, we get it. Like, enough time has passed. We need to move on.
Can we also talk about how the doctor just got done dealing with the Daleks and immediately he has to deal with the Cybermen? Another reminder of what happened to Rose back in season
Stop.
2. And just like the Cybermen and the doctor always have had beef.
Hmm.
Very traumatic so soon after the Daleks and losing everyone.
Yeah, that's rough. And they are here. Correct me if I'm wrong. These are the Cybermen that got like stuck in the void, and then
Yeah.
the void opened, and now they're here. So it's really double whammy.
For sure.
What do you think about the use of the Cybermen in general in this episode? For me, like, I don't know. I'm very picky. Like, I like the Cyberman as a concept. They're classic Doctor Who villains. They're fun, you know. Who's going to complain about seeing the Cybermen? Not me, but they're never like necessarily my favorite. I think in the RTD1 era, especially because they haven't been used in RTD2 yet. I'm realizing this as I'm speaking. But they're just kind of like there. They're just very robotic. And like sometimes you kind of see like the human side of it. Saw that a little bit in Doomsday, a little bit in the
Mm-hmm.
Age of Steel two-parter. But for me, like the best Cybermen stories are still to come. So like I'm just kind of like I want to get to that point. Like these Cybermen specifically in this episode aren't interesting to me.
Yeah, I am completely on the same page as you. The whole Cyberman and Cyber King thing in this episode falls really flat for me, and I think that's a reason why I don't usually reach for this episode. I really enjoy like David Morrissey's performance. I enjoy Rosita. I enjoy kind of all of the human aspect. I love the setting and like the set
Yes.
design. Like it's gorgeous and the atmosphere you can just feel like that it's 1851 and it's Christmas time, but the Cybermen aspect, like, they're not scary in this
No.
episode, really. And I agree with you. Like, the best Cybermen episodes are yet to come. I really feel like they're really lackluster in RTD's run.
Mhm.
They're not that strong in this episode. Like, I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
boring.
Yeah, like the giant I do like the scene at the end, the giant Cyberman kind of over London and the doctor's in the hot air balloon. Like that's really fun. And like weirdly an emotional scene. But yeah, and then we have like Miss Hartigan at the center of this whole Cyberman thing. And I just feel that she is the most underutilized Doctor Who villain
Yeah.
of all time. She is fascinating, but we are just given like crumbs as to who she is and her motivations and what she's doing here. And she seems fascinating. Like she has a brain strong enough to like take over the Cybermen and kind of control them. And she's chosen as the Cyber King. Like, okay, Queen, like what is her deal? And like she's clearly been wronged by all these like rich, powerful men in town, but then she's also like turning all the children into her workforce. Like, I don't know. I just wish she was a little bit better developed and we had a little bit more time. And she's really fascinating, but really underutilized here.
Yeah, she's really underutilized. Like, what's her motivation? Like, girl, who hurt you so bad that
Yeah.
you want to become Cyber King? Like, that's just never expanded upon. And, like, we don't really know much about her besides her being literally insane and somehow having a powerful brain to the point she's able to overpower the Cybermen and get them to obey her. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy, and we don't really understand why exactly that happens.
Yeah, and I wish she got a better ending too. Like she just kind of sees what's going on, screams and blows up. Like
I
that's
mean, she kind of got what she deserved. I mean,
I
she
think she
forced kids into slave labor to advance the
yeah.
Cyberman Empire.
No, that is like that. I will say that factory scene where you're just watching all the tiny little kids working.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is really sad. But also, like, I don't know. I think she could have had redemption. Like, for all the villains like that they give redemption to in this show, she could have gotten some redemption in this episode. She could have been saved somehow.
Probably. I always forget in this episode that, like, before the Jackson Link reveal, it's like the ultimate catfish scenario.
Wait, you're so right.
Like I think when I watched this for the first time, I was like so confused because I'm like, a future version of the Doctor, wouldn't there be some like interference or like some timey-wimey issue disruption between them?
I remember I really thought the first time I watched this, I was like, whoa, they're giving us a preview of who the next doctor is gonna be.
Yeah, which I think it's just like it really ties in with the title to really throw people off, especially if people were watching this live back in the day, right after it had been announced David was leaving. It's a good gag worthy moment.
It is. It really is. And David Morrissey, he plays it so well. Like he really
Mm-hmm.
has the idea of the doctor down. And so you believe it. Like you believe that he believes he's the doctor, and you believe that you kind of do believe that he is the doctor. And he also like carries the same sadness and pain that the doctor does, but also just like the energy and the spirit and the goodwill. Like he has all of that. And just the reveal to me is so heartbreaking when he finds out that he's not the doctor. Like that is just such a sad moment. It's really a reverse human nature family of blood if you think about it.
Wait, you're so right.
Yeah.
And it's so heartbreaking too because as he's realizing he's not actually the doctor, he finds out all of the reasons like why he even got into this headspace in the first place. And it's
Yeah.
because the Cybermen murdered his wife and like they took his kid, but like he was so distraught and understandably so that like his mind just couldn't accept it. And so when the Cyberman came and he picked up that info stamp, it really is, like you were saying, that reverse human nature because all of that info gets put in his brain and his brain wants to like run away in the first place. So, like, it's just so emotional and so sad and so dark that, like, his kid was kidnapped by the Cybermen and he like
Yeah.
blocked it out because it was so traumatic. Like, that's awful.
Yeah, no, it is really crazy. Like the doctor says he was in a fugue state. And it's just really sad to imagine like he was so traumatized and distraught over losing his wife and losing his son that he just grabbed on to the story of the doctor to get him through it, and to imagine that he wasn't a man who just lost his family, but instead he was this great hero and this great adventurer, and it was like his job to save the town. And yeah, it's really sad, and every time watching that kind of get ripped away from him is really painful. Like even the scene when the doctor is fighting the Cybermen with the sword, which I love, by the way. I love like the mini Christmas invasion callback with that. And he's like, I'm the doctor, I'm the one you want. The look on Jackson's face, it makes me so sad because he's like, dang, bro, like I have nothing. And you're even trying to steal like the one thing I have, like my identity. That's all I have. And I always really feel for him in that moment.
Yeah, no, it's a sad moment. And I feel for Jackson like this entire episode. Like, he really went through so much trauma.
When the doctor says, I'm sorry, I'm truly sorry, but you have an awful lot of luggage for one man.
Mm,
Oh, no. The pain. That's so
no,
sad.
it's so sad. And before this Jackson Lake reveal between the doctor and Jackson, there's a moment where Tin is looking in all of the luggage and just like rifling through it, trying to figure out the tea. And Rosita asks him, like, can you help him? He has such
Mm-hmm.
terrible dreams. He wakes at night in such a stage of terror. And Jackson then says, not now, Rosita. With all of the things the Time Lord has seen, everything he's lost, he must surely have bad dreams. And Tin just says, yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes me
Mm,
so sad. Um,
so sad.
it reminds me of that moment in The Empty Child when the Ninth Doctor is talking to Dr. Constantine or whatever his name is. And he's like, before the war, I was a father, a doctor, and a grandfather, but now I'm just the doctor.
Mm,
Or now I'm just a doctor. And the Ninth Doctor's like, yeah, I know the feeling.
so sad and painful.
I know. It is so sad. It's interesting to me that the doctor kind of gets himself reflected back to him. Like, he kind of gets to see the doctor from another perspective. Like, he gets to see someone be him, be the doctor. And I think that's
Mm,
just at a really interesting point after he's just kind of like lost everything and really fallen lower than he's ever been, at least for now, because he has a lot of ways to go.
yeah.
I do really just love the dynamic between the Doctor and Jackson throughout this episode, like before the truth comes out. There's a lot of great comedic moments, especially the sonic screwdriver moment. And Jackson just has a regular screwdriver, and the Doctor is like, well, how's it sonic? And he just, knocks it against the door, and he's like, it makes a noise. That's really funny to me. And then later, when he's like, you ask a lot of questions, and the Doctor says, I'm your companion. Really funny. The
Mhm.
whistling bit, love that. And then later, there's a really sincere moment where Jackson says, help me. And the Doctor says, the two words I never refuse. Just the dynamic
Oh,
between them is really great. It's really fun to watch.
it is. Okay. Switching over to Miss Hartigan, which I don't know if it's Miss Hartigan or Miss Hattigan, and I really don't care to clarify,
Yeah,
so
I don't know.
nobody come after us, please. But like towards the beginning of this episode, she just like attends the funeral of this random man she killed so she could get all of these other men under her control, I guess. But then like the guy who was in charge of the funeral, he was like calling her a harlot because she's a woman coming graveside in a red dress, which like I get it, sign of the times in 1851, but it's just so ridiculous to me. Sometimes I forget how much times have changed.
Oh, yeah.
Because
It's
imagine
so.
being called a harlot going to a funeral.
No, it's really funny. The costuming in this episode kind of slaps. Like her red
It does.
dress, iconic. Rosita and Jackson Lake, their costumes are so good. I
Hmm.
love them.
Me too. And I feel like Jackson Lake's costume is very doctor-y too.
Totally.
Yeah, I love that.
I just love how she's like, yeah, I know all of you, and you don't know me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that one actor, the one guy who's like, "You're Miss Hartigan, right?" Or Hartigan, whatever. And she's like, "Oh yeah, you noticed, you cheeky guy." He kind of looks like Richard Grant to me.
We know you're so right, actually.
I've thought that,
Like,
like, I
yeah,
think about that every time I see this episode. It kind of drives me crazy.
the hot air balloon scene, or sorry, the TARDIS being revealed as the hot air balloon
So
is
good.
so funny. It is so funny, and Tin is trying so hard to hold back a laugh.
No, like the idea that the TARDIS is a hot air balloon is so magical to me. I love it so much. But also the idea that they believe this hot air balloon will take them to time and space. It's like, I hope they never test that theory. Like,
Yeah.
let's not do anything crazy with this hot air balloon, okay?
Yeah. Jackson was also like, it stands for Tethered Aerial Release Developed in Style. Like, sir, what are
So
you on? That's
good.
not going to space.
So good. Developed in style
Yeah.
kills, like, that's so funny.
No, I love it. I always feel like in these episodes, whether I like the Cyberman aspect or not, there's always at least one line between the Cybermen and the Doctor that makes me laugh. And in this episode, it's the Cyberman being like, "You are the Doctor." After Ten is like, "Here, I'm actually the Doctor," and Ten just goes, "Hello." I don't know. The way that's delivered is so funny.
The one that made me laugh is when the Doctor is giving them the info stamp, and he's like, "This is corrupted. It would blah blah blah," and he's like, we're for shot."
Yeah.
Oh, also we
Very.
get what are your boots on silent or whatever he says. That's really funny.
Yeah, that is funny. We also get the classic Doctor flashback of the Doctor's previous faces, including Nine. And it's been so long since. Okay, let me rephrase. I was about to say it's been so long since I've seen a flashback. That is not true, but it's been so long that I've seen a pre-10 flashback
Well,
of
I think
faces.
this is the first one that the show did. Correct me
Is
if
it?
I'm wrong. I think so.
Oh, wait, no, you might be right, actually.
Yeah, because I think this was even. I remember reading in the past that this was kind of like the first acknowledgement of the Eighth Doctor. So this was like the Eighth Doctor getting canonized in the show.
That's actually hilarious. It's in this episode that it becomes canonized.
Right? But yeah, I love the little flashbacks, and seeing the Ninth Doctor always gets me emotional.
Me too. I
Yeah,
miss him.
me too. There's a lot of like Unquiet Dead kind of vibes to this episode. Like, not really, but just because it's Christmas and it's like a Victorian setting, it was reminding me of the Unquiet Dead. Also, there was a guy at like in the background in some scenes that just like kind of looked like the guy that played Charles Dickens, which
I think
I
it's just the
appreciated.
costuming.
Yeah, it totally is.
That's funny though. But you're right. It definitely does have those vibes. And I do love the vibes of this episode. Like I
Me
was
too.
saying earlier. I think that was done really well. I will say London is less populated than I would think, especially on Christmas.
Yeah, there's like no one around except these kids like getting hauled to the factories.
Yeah, which, like, that to me is crazy. Like, why? Obviously, you're evil, but why are you choosing kids and not adults? You would think adults would be more productive because they're bigger and stronger.
Well, I feel like this was like the height of the like child labor epidemic where they were just
Oh,
like making kids like build cars, not cars actually, but like just making kids like build everything.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, like even in this episode they said that like all the kids were coming from the workhouses. So,
Also, we see a dimension. Is it canon or what did Tin call it?
I have no idea, but I know what you're talking about. The like kind of Dalek thing.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
even says that was originally something the Daleks used, but the Cybermen were like, we're taking it.
Yeah, and that's how they were able to travel in time, I guess.
I guess. Very interesting that they did that, but the Daleks didn't.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. I find it genuinely so insane that the Cybermen tell Miss Hartigan that her mind is full of anger, abuse, and revenge, and those have no place in a cyber mind. Like, that line is just so crazy. Like, why was she like that? Again, like, I want to know, like, what was her motivation beside
Hmm.
just us being told that she's like abusive and angry and wants revenge? Like, why though?
I know. I'm so fascinated. And I'm like, I could almost be on your side. Like, I just know that you have some kind of tragic backstory. Like, you think you're doing this for maybe not a good reason, but you think you have good reasons to be doing this. And we just don't really get it. We don't really get to hear, like, what that is and, like, who she is. And I just really would have liked more of that. And yeah, the whole scene where she's forced to become the Cyber King is really interesting after they promised her that they would never convert her. And I do love the line where they're like, that was, what did they say? Oh, that was designated a lie.
Yeah, yeah. I always find it so crazy. Like, I never understand why any villain trusts whatever alien they're working with. Like, why do you trust them so much?
No, for what? What do you think of the reveal when you find out that Jackson Lake also has a son and his son was taken, but now his son's alive?
It's so sad. And when I was watching this, like, I remembered he had a kid, but I couldn't remember if the kid was alive. And so I was really happy today to watch that the kid was alive and they were reunited. It's really sad though, like the way like he blocked it out of his memory because it was so traumatic. I mean, imagine being a parent and your kid is abducted by a
Mm.
Cyberman. Like, that is horrific. It's not like you can call the police and be like, "Hey, be on the lookout for a giant robot." Like, that's just not going to happen. And I do like that, like, a little bit later on when Tin is going to defeat the Cyber King, Jackson's like, "But doctor, like, I should go with you." And Tin tells him, "Jackson, you got your son. You have a reason to live." And Jackson hits them with the, "And you haven't."
And the doctor just stays silent and just looks at him. And then Jackson's like, oh, okay. Yeah, that moment, watching that today, it really struck me more than it ever has. I don't really know why, but I just think it's really, I think it's the first, not the first time, but it's one of the moments in this episode where you can feel the repercussions from Journey's End and you can feel how alone he is and how sad he is here being on his own, and he's just lost everything again.
Yeah, and like we were talking about earlier, in the beginning of this episode, he was experiencing, that joy that he really kind of craved after losing everyone in the last episode.
Mhm.
And to have all of that joy kind of come to a pause because he's reminded again of like his real life. Not that that wasn't on his mind, but you know what I mean. It's like when you're going through tough things and you're distracting yourself, it always hurts more when you realize like the true circumstances and situations. And 10 is just brought back to that place of being like, I have no one in this present moment and I can risk myself and my life because I have no one. And it's just
Yeah.
so sad.
Not to skip ahead, but I feel like we need to talk about that speech at the end. I love, like, this lives in my head rent free every single moment of this scene when Jackson is like, all those bright and shining companions, where are they now? And the doctor really gives this speech that really summarizes like where all of the 10th Doctor companions are. He says they leave because they should, which is very Martha coded, or they find someone else, which I need to go on a mini rant about that in particular, because it's not like Rose just like found someone else and left him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's his fault. You pushed her to tend to the meta crisis doctor and you left her when she wanted to go with you. And like, I just hate the little like pity party sometimes. Like, my man, you did this to yourself.
Yeah, like, yes, I can agree with you, Tin. Like, you did have to erase Donna's memories. Even though I hate saying that, it's kind of true so Donna could live. And when you love
Mm-hmm.
someone, of course you're going to choose to erase their memories with you over them dying because they're connected to the meta crisis doctor. But, like, 10, Rose did not find someone else.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, you imagine having a woman travel across dimensions and universes to get to you, and then you just like take her back home like it's nothing.
And leave her with the wish.com version of you.
That's amazing. Yeah, and then he says, some forget me. I suppose in the end they break my heart. Ugh, so sad.
So sad. And like not to get into semantics, but like he says heart singular. So is one of his hearts
Yes.
just permanently broken?
No, that does bug me too. The show does that a lot where they say heart instead of hearts, and it really bugs me. It's like such like
Yeah.
a non thing, but it personally upsets me. Like, the whole thing is that he has two hearts. Like, why aren't you gonna say
Hmm.
hearts?
Exactly.
I love the scene after the doctor saves the day and Jackson gets the whole, not the whole town, but he gets the whole town to like cheer for him. And I
Yeah.
just really love that moment of, the doctor getting a little recognition and waving from the hot air balloon. He looks great doing it. I don't know, it's really sweet.
Yeah. Sometimes we all need to be cheered on, and 10 really did in that moment because he opened Miss Hartigan's mind to realize who she had become. And
Hmm.
honestly, that is like worse than dying, in my opinion, is
Oh, yeah.
realizing you've banded together with the Cybermen, you've killed people, innocent people, you've harmed innocent children, and you did it all because you had no like conscience. So yeah, so obviously 10 was in a funk because he didn't want to do all that, but he literally had to. So for him to kind of get that reassurance, that cheering, his hearts needed it.
Hearts. Yeah. And it is nice too. Like, I like how Jackson says, like, he's never been thanked, not once, not one day.
Mm,
And it's true. Like, the last time he
yeah.
got this kind of recognition was Last of the Time Lords, but then that whole moment got erased. So it doesn't even
Oh,
count.
yeah. No, you're right, actually. Something that I really like, and that I don't know, I completely forgot about this too, but Jackson is able to convince Tin to go to Christmas dinner with him. And if you know
Yes.
anything, you know, like Tin does not do Christmas dinner. He has not since Christmas of 2005 with the Tylers because it just hurts too much. He said no to Donna, didn't do it with Martha, but Jackson is able to convince him. And Tin even says, like, you're the first one to convince me. And I really think it's because Tin knows this is a case where he's not going to become a companion. So there's not like that hurt, but also Jackson understands because it's a Christmas dinner to mourn those who they lost, to honor those who they lost.
Yeah, I think uh, I'm getting like emotional thinking about it. But yeah, I really like the sentiment that they're having this dinner, bonding together, remembering the people that they've lost, like his wife, Jackson's wife, the doctor's friends, Donna. Like, I don't know, it's a really sweet idea, and I love the ending of this episode, from Jackson seeing the TARDIS and saying this is just complete and utter wonderful nonsense, to them going to dinner, having Christmas dinner together. It's really sweet, and I really love it. I wish we got to see the dinner. Like, I don't really need to see the dinner. I like this ending of them like walking off together and Merry Christmas, but I want to see the dinner.
I feel like it would be like so cute too and so cozy.
Yeah, fun vibes, them and Rosita and their son Frederick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's the star of the show?
Jackson Lake. I can't not give it to him.
Yeah, I mean David Morrissey, like his performance is so iconic in this episode. He plays the
Mhm.
doctor really well. And Rosita, she's my star of the show cuz she plays the role of a companion really well. And even though you
Yeah.
don't really get to know much about her, you kind of get a sense of who she is and how much she cares for Jackson. And I love her telling the story of how he saved her, down by the river or something. It's really nice.
Yeah.
What is the heart of this episode?
I don't know. What is the heart of this episode?
The heart of this episode is identity theft is not a joke.
Yeah, it's a real problem, actually.
Yeah, it's serious.
It
Like,
is.
you steal someone's identity and then maybe you, like, almost get killed by a Cyberman monkey guy.
I forgot I called it a cyber monkey.
Do we have any reviews from the past?
Yes, we do. And they are from IMDb. And this first review was written on December 26th, 2008. And it's written by My Mainbox 08. And they said that the next Doctor as a whole was okay. The script was very dull, but the saving grace was David Morrissey playing the said next Doctor. His performance was astoundingly good, really exceptional. He gave it all he had. And then further down in this review, they continued in saying that the standout factor of the show was the giant robot at the end rising from the Thames and stomping on old world London. It really did look fantastic, and the CGI department did a very fine job indeed. The end of the review is talking about how they were upset that the Cybermen scene was shot in a real graveyard, but that's a discussion for another day.
Oh,
Um,
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, there's definitely some validity to that in terms of like respect and all of that. But yeah, I felt like this review kind of sums up our take is that like as a whole was okay, although I disagree. I don't think the script was dull. I think it was the
No.
Cybermen who were dull.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. The Cybermen just like are kind of there. You kind of forget about it. That, like,
Yeah.
I forget that this is a Cybermen story.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
But it's really made for David Morrissey. And I agree the CGI is not bad. Like, when I was looking at like the giant Cyber King, I was like, you know what? It's not half bad.
Yeah, it really wasn't. Although I will say it always like takes me out when it first appears just because why is something that's scary and serious also so unserious at the same time?
No, totally. Totally.
Okay, this last review was written on November 29th, 2011 by the user G Peavers. and they wrote saying that The Next Doctor, while perhaps an adequate episode, is for me the least effective and the least memorable of the Doctor Who Christmas specials. The story has a familiar Christmas setting with shades of Dickens, from the Victorian setting to the orphans and the workhouses, but it doesn't really seem to have the essence of the Christmas spirit. The performances overall are okay. David Morrissey is good as the Next Doctor, but the baddies for this episode just aren't inspired. We have seen plenty of Cybermen by now, and the new cyber creatures really do just look like guys in suits. Perhaps the biggest flaw lies in the lead antagonist, Miss Hartigan. Her motivations, while possibly working well to define the character, do very little for the story.
Yeah, completely agree.
And that's all the reviews.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed this little Christmassy special episode. And maybe you were able to pretend it was Christmas for a few minutes wherever you are. Here it is like 80 degrees, so it doesn't really feel like Christmas, but we'll pretend.
We'll pretend, and honestly, unfortunately, before we know it, it will be Christmas time, but we're not there yet.
Yeah, exactly.
We're just in temporary Christmas time today.
And next week we will be temporarily in Easter time.
Yeah, I think the one and only Easter special we have.
Yeah, I was Legend of the Sea Devils an Easter special?
Oh my gosh, no, you're right. It was. It was. As always, don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at TimeyWimeyPod.
And email us anything and everything, including if you want to like work with us on like logos and rebrands, to timeyWimeyPod@gmail.com.
And we will talk to you guys next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Ta-ra.